What happens when life doesn't just knock on your door, but arrives twice at the same time? Imagine walking into your home one day and realizing that every corner, every drawer, every quiet space you once knew is about to be transformed into something entirely new. Twin pregnancy is not just about preparing for two babies, it's about reshaping your entire world, physically, emotionally, and mentally. The home you once found comfort in suddenly feels too small, too unprepared, too quiet for what's coming. This is the story of how we turned uncertainty into intention, chaos into structure, and a simple house into a sanctuary built for two new lives. Because when two hearts are on the way, everything changes and nothing can stay the same. Twin pregnancy is a journey that challenges everything you thought you knew about preparation. It's not just double the diapers or double the cribs, it's double the planning, double the adjustments, and double the emotional weight of wanting everything to be perfect. When we found out we were expecting twins, we realized our home wasn't ready, not for one baby, and definitely not for two. What followed was a complete transformation, where every room was reimagined with purpose, every object questioned, and every decision guided by functionality and love. This video will take you through that transformation, how we organized, redesigned, and adapted our space to welcome two babies with calm instead of chaos. If you're preparing for a big life change or simply love transformation stories, make sure to subscribe and stay with us until the end. The moment we discovered we were expecting twins, our perception of space shifted instantly, as if the walls around us had quietly moved closer overnight, forcing us to confront how unprepared we truly were. Every room suddenly felt smaller, not because its dimensions had changed, but because its purpose had. The living room was no longer just a place to relax. It would soon become a multifunctional zone filled with movement, sound, and constant care. The bedroom, once a private retreat, needed to evolve into a shared environment that could support rest in fragments rather than in full nights. Even the kitchen began to represent efficiency rather than creativity, a place where time and organization would matter more than ever before. We began by observing our home with new eyes, walking through each space slowly, questioning everything we owned and how it contributed to our future life. Items that once felt essential now seemed like obstacles, taking up valuable space that would soon be needed for something far more important. This process was not just physical but emotional, as letting go of objects meant letting go of a previous version of our lives. We started to understand that transformation was not about adding more, but about creating room for what truly mattered, simplifying our environment so that we could handle the complexity that was about to enter our lives. The first major decision we made was to rethink the layout of our home entirely, shifting away from aesthetics and focusing on practicality in a way we never had before. Furniture was moved, removed, or replaced, each change guided by a simple question: does this support our new reality? Open spaces became more valuable than decorative elements, and accessibility took priority over design trends. We realized that with two babies, every step saved would matter. Every reachable item would reduce stress, and every thoughtful arrangement would contribute to a smoother daily routine that would soon define our lives. Storage quickly became one of our biggest challenges, as the number of items required for twins seemed to multiply endlessly, from clothes to feeding supplies to hygiene essentials. We needed systems, not just spaces, and so we began creating zones within each room, assigning specific purposes to different areas to avoid confusion and clutter. Labels, containers, and shelves became our allies, helping us maintain order in what could easily become overwhelming chaos. This level of organization was not about perfection, but about survival, ensuring that in moments of exhaustion, we could rely on structure rather than memory. The nursery became the heart of our transformation, a room that needed to balance comfort, safety, and efficiency without becoming overcrowded. Designing a space for two babies required careful planning, as symmetry was not just aesthetic but functional, allowing both children to be cared for with equal ease. Cribs were positioned strategically, storage was placed within arm's reach, and lighting was adjusted to create a calm atmosphere that could support both day and night routines. Every detail was considered, from the placement of changing stations to the flow of movement within the room, ensuring that nothing would interrupt the delicate rhythm we hoped to establish. One of the most unexpected changes was how we approached minimalism, not as a trend, but as a necessity driven by our circumstances. We learned to question every purchase, every addition, and every object entering our home, asking whether it truly served a purpose or simply added noise to an already complex environment. This mindset helped us avoid unnecessary clutter and focus on what truly supported our new lifestyle. It also brought a sense of clarity and calm, reminding us that having more did not mean being more prepared, and that simplicity could be one of our greatest strengths during this transition. Our bedroom required a complete redefinition, as sleep became a resource that needed to be protected and optimized rather than taken for granted. We reorganized the space to accommodate nighttime routines, ensuring that everything needed for feeding, changing, and soothing was within immediate reach. This reduced movement during the night and allowed us to respond quickly to both babies without fully waking ourselves. Lighting was softened, pathways were cleared, and distractions were minimized, all contributing to an environment that supported rest, even in its most fragmented form. The living room evolved into a dynamic space that needed to adapt throughout the day, shifting between relaxation, play, and caregiving seamlessly. We removed unnecessary furniture to create open areas where movement would not be restricted, anticipating the constant activity that two babies would bring. Soft surfaces were introduced for safety, and storage solutions were integrated discreetly to keep essentials accessible without creating visual clutter. This balance between functionality and comfort became essential, as the living room would serve as the center of daily life, where most of our time would be spent. The kitchen transformation focused on efficiency and preparation. Recognizing that time would become one of our most limited resources, we reorganized cabinets and drawers to prioritize frequently used items, placing them within easy reach and eliminating unnecessary steps in our routines. Meal preparation areas were simplified, and we began planning ahead more intentionally, creating systems that would support quick and effective cooking. This shift allowed us to maintain a sense of control in an area that could easily become overwhelming, ensuring that nourishment remained consistent even during the busiest days. We also had to rethink how we used transitional spaces, such as hallways and entryways, which often go unnoticed but play a crucial role in daily flow. These areas were optimized to support movement, with clear pathways and designated spots for essential items like bags, shoes, and baby gear. By reducing friction in these spaces, we made it easier to move through the house efficiently, especially during moments of urgency. This attention to detail might seem small, but it had a significant impact on our overall experience, making daily routines smoother and less stressful. Another important aspect of our transformation was creating systems for maintenance, ensuring that our home could remain functional even as life became more demanding. Cleaning routines were simplified, and we focused on consistency rather than perfection, understanding that a perfectly organized home was not the goal. Instead, we aimed for sustainability, creating habits that could be maintained over time without adding unnecessary pressure. This approach helped us stay grounded, reminding us that our home was meant to support us, not overwhelm us. As the transformation progressed, we began to notice a shift not only in our environment but in our mindset as well. The process of reorganizing our home became a form of preparation that went beyond the physical, helping us build confidence in our ability to adapt and respond to change. Each decision, each adjustment, reinforced our sense of readiness, transforming fear into action and uncertainty into clarity. This emotional transformation was just as important as the physical one, providing us with the strength needed to embrace what was coming. We also learned the importance of flexibility, understanding that no plan would be perfect and that our needs would continue to evolve over time. This awareness allowed us to design our home in a way that could adapt, using modular solutions and avoiding rigid structures that could limit us later on. By embracing change as part of the process, we reduced the pressure to get everything right the first time, creating a space that could grow with us and our children. Technology played a subtle but meaningful role in our transformation, helping us streamline certain aspects of daily life and reduce mental load. From monitoring systems to organizational tools, we used technology selectively, focusing on solutions that genuinely improved our routines. This allowed us to maintain a balance between modern convenience and mindful living, ensuring that our home remained a place of connection rather than distraction. One of the most profound realizations during this journey was that our home did not need to be perfect to be ready. Perfection was replaced by intention, and we learned to prioritize what truly mattered over what simply looked good. This shift allowed us to let go of unrealistic expectations and focus on creating a space that felt supportive, functional, and filled with purpose. In doing so, we created an environment that reflected our values and prepared us for the realities of life with twins. As we approached the final stages of our transformation, there was a growing sense of anticipation mixed with calm, a feeling that we had done everything within our control to prepare for what was ahead. The house felt different, not just in appearance but in energy, as if it had been reshaped to hold something greater than before. Every room carried intention, every object had meaning, and every space was ready to support the new life that was about to begin. When we finally stepped back and looked at our home as a whole, we realized that the transformation was not about creating a perfect environment, but about building a foundation for a new chapter of our lives. It was about preparing not just a space, but a mindset, one that embraced change, valued simplicity, and prioritized what truly mattered. In welcoming two babies, we had also welcomed a new version of ourselves, one that was ready to grow, adapt, and find beauty in the unexpected. In the end, transforming our home was never just about making space for two babies. It was about making space for a new life, a new rhythm, and a new way of being. Twin pregnancy taught us that preparation is not about control, but about intention, and that true readiness comes from the willingness to adapt rather than the desire to perfect. As the house changed, so did we, learning to let go of what no longer served us and embrace what truly mattered. And maybe that's the real transformation, not the rooms, not the organization, but the quiet understanding that life rarely arrives in the way we expect, but always in the way we need.